where these dominant teams are going to be meeting each other in these winners.
Yeah.
And from here, we're going to actually see the real matches begin.
Absolutely. Could not agree more. Here's our other group, of course. We're going to have DK versus MRR in the winners match of Group B.
Big surprise there, actually. MVP Sky getting completely dominated by MMR.
Yeah, MMR winning a Korean tournament. I think they won the NVEN tournament, I believe it was. Sky, one of our other favorites. I think a lot of people favor Sky just because they have that MVP tag on them.
That's really the bottom line, right? Because,
Yeah.
I mean, that team tag comes with a lot, but
sure. I mean,
what we saw from Sky was actually really underwhelming. Like, their picks kind of didn't really make sense in a lot of those games.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely not the level of play that we've seen from Black already in this tournament. Looking insanely dominant. And now Snake, again, a lot of people favoring them. Oreo Man is the killer. If he gets Leoric, he's going to be the one making the plays. He's always rotating into those jungle camps to get them before their opponents can actually secure the kills on that. He's very map aware. And, we've seen a lot of different sorts of styles from the other players. We've seen a ton of Sylvanas as well.
A lot of Sylvanas. Every game, Sylvanas, Leoric at the very least. Like, a lot of consistent picks there. And I'm sure, Snake obviously sat back and watched them like, okay, this is what we're up against. This is what we got to be prepared for. Maybe we do see that Leoric ban.
Yeah, I think that would be a really smart choice and almost ridiculous to not do it. So here's, of course, MVP Black. Well prepared for today. We actually saw them come into the studio very early, set up and got ready.
Yeah, certainly the favorites here today. A lot of experience behind this team already. And here's the Storm.
I feel like MVP Black might have looked at this tournament like this is going to be easy. We're just going to run away with this. They actually showed some really interesting picks in their first match because they were just like so confident. But I feel like Snake is definitely going to shake things up today, and I think they probably watched the match between Snake and Game 8 Top and were thinking to themselves, this is not a free one. We actually have to really bring it today.
Yeah, it's going to be such a close match. I think out of the entire league, these two teams are looking the closest so far. This might as well be the grand finals. It might just be eventually.
Might be. Yeah, eventually it might be. Now, Sake is terrifying. This guy could do range damage, spell damage. He could do Vala. He even has played Muradin, as you can see, one of his last 3 picks. So a lot of versatility, even though he is one of the dealers for the team.
Yeah, well, he's certainly not going to be Assassin with Muradin, but Kael'thas and Vala still very viable after the patch. Kael'thas got a big change, but he's still one of the highest tiers of DPS.
Yeah, definitely I think going to be heavily picked today. We might see some Vala instead, but here, of course, is Sign going for 2 Leorics and a Tyrael. The Tyrael pick might have come in after a Leoric ban, as Leoric has been banned a lot more in Korea.
Yeah, well, he's going to be fighting with Oreo Man to get that Leoric pick as well.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that ends up.
Yeah, and you can see he's got 2 wins with Leoric, whereas Oreo Man has 3. Just a little stat there on the screen.
Stat, but I think it's because Leoric got picked 3 times for Oreo Man and only twice for Sign, so that kind of makes sense as well.
Now here's Merryday, who's loving his Rhaegar, but in his most recent game did pick Malfurion, so not the same amount of burst healing, but a bit more sustained healing. And we're going to our first map is going to be Cursed Hollow, so I think we might see him try to pick up Malfurion again because it's so good for that map, especially when those tribute fights start to go a little bit longer.
Yeah, a lot of fighting, a lot of team fighting, a lot of back and forth, never like... Yeah, the tributes really do take a time to kind of acquire. They can be delayed for a long time, so sustain heal makes a lot of sense.
Now, of course, Coach I hear is a little bit of a jack of all trades. He's played a bit of Kael'thas. We've seen him do Azmodan, Anubarak. I think he's picked Tyrael once as well in one of the matches I was watching. I think he's also played Zeratul before, so he really does kind of do a little bit of everything.
I would like to see him pick up Azmodan on this map, actually. A great map to delay the tributes.
Absolutely.
With that Glaive of Annihilation.
Yeah, I mean, it's just got such range, so you see someone grabbing that, and they're definitely going to have to move no matter what if you drop that on them.
Absolutely.
Now, Lockdown here, our final player, our final member of MVP. Picking again a little bit more of these all jack-of-all-trades types heroes, picking Anubarak, Muradin, so 2 tanks, but then also having the flexibility of being able to pick Illidan as well.
Yeah, that'd be interesting, seeing Illidan picked up. I doubt we will. He's kind of not really a part of the meta right now. We very rarely see him.
Lockdown is the only player, that stat said there, the only player who's ever won with Illidan in Super League. Every other player has lost. He's the only Illidan winner.
The game kind of changed a lot since the Illidan days. Like, that was a little before this ever happened, like before even the qualifiers of this tournament, Illidan was being played. But at this point, it's really phased out.
Absolutely. Get that monitor set up straight up.
That's right. And, going to be moments away from starting that first map in the Pigs and Bands. I can't wait to get into that. I can't wait to see how this story is going to start up.
For sure. I think we're going to take a look at Snake here really quick as well. Remind you guys what we saw last week from these guys. There's Oreo Man there on the end. So dangerous.
The big plays. I can't wait to see what he ends up picking up. Maybe he's got a new one planned. We'll have to wait and see.
That we will. Now this team is really good at rotations. I think the most important things to note about this team is rotations and you know, their map awareness. We have seen this team struggle in team fights in the late game, you know, even sometimes several levels up. They did not show the best team fighting, not the best cohesion in the fights, but the early game is where these guys really shine. And in Heroes of the Storm, you know, I have to argue that the early game is the most important part because things start to snowball very quickly after that.
Well, here's a look at their first player, Tist. He is the warrior of that team. Usually picking, looks like he's always the main sort of tank. If he gets Johanna, Arthas, Tyrael, one of the secondary tanks we do see a lot of. And
yeah, and in those last 3 picks we saw, we picked both Arthas and Johanna as the bigger, more real tank. Leoric is a tank, but he's more of a semi-tank. He does a little bit more damage.
Yeah, Mong D going to be the assassin, Jaina and 2 Valas. So looking for that burst damage and sustained damage with Vala. This map's going to be good for either class, so essentially we see these picks every single game.
Absolutely. If we see the range on Jaina's Blizzard, it could just be so good on this map that we're going to the first one. So we saw his Jaina last time, and it looked insanely good. His Vala was decent, but it was like nothing to write home about. It was just pretty standard, but his Jaina was really impressive. Really like to see that Jaina again today, especially on this map. We'll have to see if he can get it, though.
It's going to be all about that. I think both sides really looking for the same kind of picks. Jaina, the tier 1 pick when it comes to DPS. Support, we have seen Brightwing and Uthas from Kinu.
Yeah, he was picking Brightwing on the Sky Temple map, so he's using Brightwing to teleport around and get a lot of extra EXP.
That was to deal with that Illidan pick. That very surprise pick we did see from the other team that Snake were up against. And I mean, it was weak back then too. Like, since then, Brightwing has been buffed in this recent patch, so he's a lot more viable now, but certainly back then he was not, but he was still used for that polymorph.
And we saw Kong pick Sylvanas every game. Sylvanas was not banned. It was not taken by Game Made Top in any of the games, so he was able to get it. Would not be surprised if we see a little bit more of him using this again. Because, again, I feel like Snake's one of their weaknesses is their team fighting, but if you can get a good initiate with Sylvanas' Wailing Arrow, you silence the other team, you know, it causes a lot of disruption, it causes a lot of problems for the other team.
Yeah, great pushing power as well. On a big map like this, you can split push while you fight over a tribute.
Every other Sylvanas picked player has lost, by the way. Only he won with those 3 games.
That's interesting. And here's Oreo Man. He's the man of the hour, the man of Snake. He did so much work last time he played, and Leoric was his favorite hero, and he's won 3 times with it.
Leoric is a good pick right now, a strong pick, but when you put Oreo Man on there, he's like a professional baseball player with those skeletal swings, Moonglade.
Yeah, he's something else. Let's see if he gets it this time, though. I think it's going to be a bit of a fight for Leoric, or it's going to get banned out.
There he is right there, and you know, Oreo Man definitely the most known, I would say, Snake player. The Korean commentators love him as well, especially Ace. I was listening to some of their commentary last time. Everybody's talking about this guy. So, again, the first map is going to be the Tribute map. It is going to be Cursed Hollow. We're going to take a look at that map right now. If you've never seen it, if you're new to Heroes of the Storm, we'll kind of explain this to you.
Yeah, certainly so. As you can see, this is where the cores are.
The watchtowers.
Watchtower, very important, but not really in the key position here. Kind of helps you out on your side of the map, but doesn't reveal too much.
You know, it's more of a defensive thing against invades and the like. But here are where the tributes spawn. It's totally random where these things spawn, but they've got 6 possible locations. And if you know that if a tribute spawns twice on the bottom, it's more likely to spawn to the top. There's a few things like that you can actually sort of prepare for, but
yeah, really it comes down to just RNG though and positioning. A little bit of luck involved where the teams are at the time of the spawn and what they're doing. I mean, we've seen a lot of sort of mishaps happen when they're going for the golem and then the tribute spawns next to them. It's like, well, they're going to find out pretty quick what we're doing.
Yeah.
So we have a look at the Merc camps here as well.
Yep, the Merc camps on this map really important. There are 6 you can go for. The Siege Giants, of course, if you can grab those right before a big tribute or right before someone's trying to get boss, it can really push the lane while you contest one of these objectives. And we didn't talk about what the curse actually does, but what it does is it stops all turrets from firing. You know, these cannons here will not fire, the forts and keeps will not fire, and also every enemy minion will be reset to 1 health.
Yeah.
They can be healed, for example, but they're not going to, you know, if you're not there with them, their lanes are all going to push really, really hard.
And also one thing to note, while the curse is active, the core actually still does attack.
That's true.
It's the one thing that does attack in the game still, so no easy coring when that happens.
Absolutely. A late game curse, though, can be disastrous.
Oh, yeah, it really you're going to lose a lane, you're going to lose a fort and keep very, very quickly. And finally, we're into the picks and bans.
Snake, red side, going to be the first ban. I'm excited.
Oh, yeah, how are they going to start this off here?
Zeratul ban.
All right, no surprise there.
Lyric ban is so smart here, I feel. Let's see if MVP Black does it. And they do!
Yeah.
Smart ban, so we're not going to see that Lyric on Oreo Man today.
First time we're not going to see Oreo Man pick that up. Makes a lot of sense. He's a scary man with it, and they would be going for that first pick, I'm sure.
Yeah. It's going to be a Zagara first pick instead.
Great for this map as well. You're going to be able to push a lane and have a lot of map vision with those creep tumors.
Now this is pretty unique. We see a Zagara first pick into a Johanna and Tyrael. Tyrael insanely good at delaying tributes with his Eldruin's Might. But this is the first time we're really seeing like a non-early Uther pick. Uther's been picked very early on in most of these Heroes games, and today not so much.
Yeah, it is interesting. They simply go for this double tank pick off the get-go. Not going to go for any of the top DPS, the tier 1 DPS. They're going to be like, okay, we're going to make sure we have the tanks. We're going to have this initiation with Judgment on Tyrael. It might actually change Snake's point of view of what they want to do there, because like now that this is on the map, they're like, okay, maybe we don't want to go for Kael'thas, because Kael'thas is pretty weak against Tyrael's Judgment. It's usually the natural counter.
Yeah, it's almost like a soft ban in a sense. You know, if you pick Tyrael, it's like, well, do they really want to pick that? Probably not.
Probably not. Maybe we'll see a Jaina. Oh.
Sergeant Hammer!
All right.
Got buffed in this patch.
I mean, it certainly got buffed at least a little bit here. It changed things up. I'm really interested to see how much it's going to make a difference there.
I'm really excited to see this because Sergeant Hammer is one of my favorite heroes. I know a lot about her.
Oh, I know that. Well, he used to pick her all the time.
And, you know, there's two main buffs that she got to her hit points. Overall scale is really good to late game, and also her siege mode is faster. Well, there's this other kind of shadow buff, and that imposing presence got nerfed, which means her auto attacks do a lot more damage over time.
That's true. Well, it's going to be great on this map as well. You're going to be able to siege from afar, start doing damage to anyone that tries to get the tributes. Makes a lot of sense here. Look at that, a Malfurion ban. Yeah,
Malfurion ban. We also didn't talk about the Anubarak, but he's also great for disruption on those tribute fights.
Yeah, he's fantastic. Get those beetles out.
Yeah, you know, we've seen a lot of MVP Black using Malfurion and Rhaegar, so banning Malfurion against Snake is interesting here. We might see... What ban do you think we're going to see here? We could see an Uther ban.
There's still a lot of DPS on the map if they want to get rid of Jaina or Kael'thas. Perhaps it's a good choice.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like Kael'thas would be a pretty good choice for Black at this point if they're going to be up against Sergeant Hammer. Like, if he's going to siege from afar, you drop afar Flame Strike, if that's going to be your choice of build. Obviously, the builds are a little bit different now for Kael'thas now that he doesn't have Ignite anymore.
Yeah, with the Jaina ban here, I think we could be seeing a Kael'thas. We've got two tanks to sort of back him up here to make sure he's safe in the back. Blink did get nerfed pretty significantly in this patch. Its cooldown going up to 70 seconds, so...
Yeah, that's pretty long.
You do want those tanks in the front to keep him alive.
I do like the Jaina ban, and Val is going to be the choice here.
And bring in Uther as their healer. Now we're going to see Snake's final two picks. So probably going to get a healer here. I'd say Rhaegar the most likely pick.
He's always usually the most likely pick. Wouldn't be a bad choice against what he's up against now. 3 melee. Drop that totem, slow everyone down in the fight, as well as that big heal.
Yeah. I mean, there's not too many high-tier healers right now. I don't think we're going to see a Kharazim at this point.
That'd be interesting, but I don't think so. I feel like you'd probably want a Rhaegar to help out with that siege tank. If it gets some Judgment on him, if you're going to get focused down like that, burst down, going to make sure you have that ancestral healing.
It's going to be Arthas instead of Muradin as the tank. This is an interesting pick because Arthas does have his Howling Blast to stun players, and it can actually be sent across the tribute sort of holes where they are. But at the same time, the Dwarf Toss on Muradin does give you a little bit more mobility on tribute maps, so I would have favored Muradin, but Arthas is a really top-tier pick in Korea. People really favor him
They do love Arthas. He's still a great tank, and he's got a lot of sustain and a lot of damage, and he can slow everyone down. And it makes sense because you're up against 3 melee as well. You're going to tie them up for a long time.
Yeah. Well, let's see that final pick. It's got to be Rhaegar, right? I mean, there's just not that many.
Unless they want Brightwing.
Yeah. I mean, there's just simply not that many high-tier supports right now.
Kharazim, let's see him throw it out there. Let's see what happens.
That would be great. I would really like to see that.
It would be interesting. I feel like we won't, though, from what I've seen of him so far, but maybe they know something we don't.
Sure.
It's always exciting to see how these top players play these heroes.
They're burning all their time here. They've got 16 seconds left to actually make that final pick. This is their bonus pool even that's being depleted now. So they've got to make a choice here in 10 seconds.
I guess it is their last pick, so they can't get away with this. They're really deliberating. 5 seconds left. What are they going to choose here?
They're really burning it out, man.
It's going to run out of time. Karazim.
Oh, Karazim, they're going for it.
Wow.
Crowd kind of getting pretty excited about that one.
Oh, that's interesting. The brand new hero here. Only coming out a few days ago. And Zebo, the final pick. Oh, I love this pick as well.
Oh, this is
hero.
Hype, man. This is pretty hype.
These are really interesting picks. It's going to be a really interesting game.
I'm so excited. That Karazim pick.
Sergeant Hammer as well. Like,
yeah.
how's this all going to work out?
They're really rolling with this new patch. It's only been out in Korea for about a day and a half, so not that much time to practice.
I'm sure this is kind of new to MVP Black as well. They're like really going to be using Karazim like this. I'm surely they've had a lot to dabble with, but like, is he really that high of a class of healer?
Well, that's going to be the question. You know, he is similar to Rhaegar in his team fighting in the late game because he can actually put that ult on somebody, and then when they die, they actually don't die, and they get a huge heal. At level 10, it's 1,600 hit points, so it's basically an 80 to 90% heal for most heroes.
Yeah, it's kind of like an anti-taunt. Like, everyone's not going to want to try and focus him down when he has that on him, so it's going to give you a little bit more time to breathe and live.
All right, Moonglade. The first map is Cursed Hollow. It's time for game number 1. This tense moment here, the crowd's getting excited, and I am as well. Looks like we're going to jump into this game 1 right here, right now. The map is loaded. And let's find out which one of these two teams is going to take the lead in game number 1 here at the Hot 6 Heroes of the Storm Super League winners match for Group A.
Well, here we go.
Here we go.
It's going to be the dance at the middle to start things off here. But no aggression this time. You did see in a lot of these other previous games and matches, a lot of level 1 fights.
So we're going to see Sergeant Hammer go for the advanced artillery trait, so doing increased damage to heroes that are far away.
Yeah, look at this. Already sieging up. Wants to get work on those towers early so they can get that experience lead.
Oh, Karazim did take the trait where he heals every third punch, so he's going to be looking to sustain Zagara and Sergeant Hammer. And this lane, the spot lane, is an insanely good lane pushing composition and combination. So they're going to be able to push this down super, super fast.
Still, they're going to have an answer for this. I mean, when they have the Zebo here, they got Vala to lane clear as well. It's going to be a pretty difficult task. I do like the counter picks from MVP Black regarding this.
Yeah, and having the Zebo there, we can actually use a zombie wall to lock down a Sergeant Hammer. Even with the buff to the siege mode, it's still really risky to actually siege up there because if you get stunned, so much damage in this lane with both Vala and the Zebo plus
there we go.
Stun.
She's going to take it. So she's going to take some damage here. I guess she does have heal though, so it's not the end of the world, but going down to half health like that, it's only a matter of time before you run out of sustain, you run out of healing.
Yeah. I mean, look at Kong is already very, very low in mana, so he's probably going to have to actually tap pretty soon. The question is, how are they going to, use her in the later on stages of the game? Like, how much damage can she really do? With her heroic, the artillery blast, she can do so much damage with that napalm strike.
That's right.
Which is insane.
Do you think this is kind of like a snowball strategy? Like, they have to get the experience lead early on. They have to siege down these towers and get a lead there before the tributes start coming out, and they do get that curse advantage?
I don't think so. What I actually think they might do is they might give the first tributes and push the lane really hard while it's spawning.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. I'm sure MVP Black's going to be thinking about that as well. They cannot let Sergeant Hammer get away with this. They cannot let her simply sit and work on those towers down bottom.
So we do see this 215 Bruiser being taken here rather than actually getting the Siege Giant. So it's going to take a little bit longer. And this is a bit scary because they're letting Sergeant Hammer kind of bully the lane there against Vala down there at the bottom while all this is happening.
It's not an easy fight for Vala. I mean, she can kind of unload on the siege tank if it's on Sergeant Hammer, if she's going to be working at the turrets or the minions.
Yeah.
But still, she's going to be out of range for a lot of it. She's going to be taking a lot of hits as well.
See, Oreo Man up here is on a Nubarak, so that's going to be his pick for this game.
Not really a favorite fight for Tyrael either. Nubarak's going to have an easy time with those beetles helping out. And there's the first tribute.
Yep, first tribute spawning at the top location. And Kong is actually being zoned here with Tist and Oreo Man, so he's actually able to take it. Kinu is rotating up. Sergeant Hammer still pushing the bot with those Giants while all this is happening.
Denied by Eldruin's might. Just a second here. Shield Glare as well, going to buy some more time. They're not looking to actually take it, just looking to deny for as long as they possibly can.
Now Kong does get it, so Snake does secure that first tribute. Sergeant Hammer continuing to push in the bot lane, man. Mong is getting some serious damage done.
Yeah,
uncontested.
It looks like Vala had to pull back, maybe taking too much damage from Mong, and now Mong getting some free shots off.
Yeah, just rotating away here as soon as it's a bit dangerous. Merryday comes down. And he can actually just drop those mines there and just kind of chunk down Uther. I mean, Sergeant Hammer is a great laning hero.
Yeah, certainly so. At this point of the game as well, on such a big map, you have a lot of space. It's going to really come down to a lot of rotations, I feel, from MVP Black to shut this down on occasion, maybe go for a gank or two. But we're already seeing like an experienced lead for Snake right now.
Yeah, and that's partially due to Sergeant Hammer forcing Vala to back. And they also got the tribute, so they're ahead in every way. And now they're seeing them take their bruisers, whereas MVP is rotated with Uther and, of course, their Johanna to take the Siege Giants.
I think it's really going to come down to the late game. How does this composition match up against what we see a much more standard, sort of robust composition from MVP Black?
Yeah.
Snake certainly went for a bit of a curveball to start things off here.
So you can see that Sergeant Hammer's already increased her basic attack and took the first aid build, which is usually the best one to take because it gives you a little bit of extra safety.
Yeah, it does make a lot of sense.
And look at this Monk is just over here pushing with her, and they're actually able to take out the wall.
I guess you really need the Monk to kind of babysit Sergeant Hammer while this is all happening, just in case those rotations happen.
Okay, second tribute is spawned. Merryday's on it immediately.
Oh, might just get it here.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to happen. The Roach pod is too slow. And so that's a really big win here for MVP.
Roach pod, I love that, Wolf.
That Roach pod, man.
The Roach pod.
Roach pod's too slow.
The Roach pod, yeah, it is. I love it.
Trying to clear up this creep, actually, but are unable to do so. That's pretty unfortunate, wasting a lot of mana. Ooh, this is a bit rough. Might actually want to pop that first aid here in a minute.
A little out of position there, actually.
Taking a lot of damage. Oreo Man is very low. And in comes Lockdown. He's out. He's on cooldown. He just has to go down there. Look, another stun here on Kong as well. Playing with fire, man. Kong turning around very fast there.
Yeah, uncharacteristic from Oreo Man as well. Getting really caught out there. Maybe going too deep. It looks like he took a few hits from the towers or something to really get that low.
Yeah. Well, that's a bit unfortunate to lose that hero. It's going to be the first kill that Black does pick up this game. Now, the question is, who's going to be the Divine Palm target for Karazim? Who is he going to be looking to heal? I mean, obviously, the obvious answer is who's the lowest, but, I mean, this composition that they go for, it's kind of, this counterplay options are pretty strong until level 20 when he gets the upgrade, because they can just simply not auto the guy who gets Divine Palm.
That's right. I think it's going to come down to which hero gets Judgment on them. Like, who is Tyrael going to Judgment? So they're going to instantly Divine Palm that, so it cannot be DPS down. Most likely going to be the Sergeant Hammer or the Zagara, I'd have to say.
Oreo Man doing some sick zoning here, allowing Snake to get that second tribute. Really well done. Look at all those beetles and that beetle upgrade.
So many beetles.
Okay, heroics are online. It is going to be Divine Palm for Karazim. No surprise there.
Yeah, it'd be interesting if we went for the damage dealing one after what we've seen so far in his talent tree. Yeah, going for shield and whatnot.
And the Napalm Strike is what you would expect to see on Sergeant Hammer, and that's what we're going to be seeing as well.
More ability to kind of delay any sort of tribute capping, as well as work on these towers some more.
Yeah. There were some changes to the Gargantuan in this patch as well, but looks like not going to see any Ravenous Spirit.
Fair enough. I mean, still makes a lot of sense.
Notice Zagara got the extra damage as well on her traits, or talents I should say, and is also upgrading her creep quite significantly. Rather than taking the incubation trait, is going to actually get the everlasting creep that goes forever.
Yeah, I mean, you really need that map vision on this map. It's so important.
Look at this Oreo Man with the plays. Lockdown as to Eldruin's away. Oreo Man does get trapped in no man's land there. They actually do go for the steal, and there it is.
There it is. He's back.
He's back. He's back alive. And that explosion is going to do a lot of AoE damage here. Sign is trying to lock them in, but they're able to escape here. A pretty good fight overall, I'd say. for Snake.
Biggest mistake was from Tyrael going for a judgment on an already, already protected Monk. Like he already has the ulti on him, so there's no way he's going to die, or if he does die, he's going to come back.
Sure.
So huge mistake there in terms of engagement.
They're going to try to deny this tribute here. Again, Sign gets pushed away, Merryday as well. And this is going to be an easy third tribute right now for Snake. Look at that, even picking up the Uther kill. And Sign better get out of there, or she's going to go down too. Oreo Man is so good with these CCs. And even with Uther here to continue to heal her, it's just not going to happen.
There's that first curse. So they're going to be able to focus down at least one of these forts. They're going to be doing a split push by the looks of things, going for every lane.
Man, this is terrifying.
Oreo Man is looking fantastic.
Yeah, he really is, and this is a unique composition. And because of Sergeant Hammer, they're able to push even stronger during the curse. Now, MVP Black is going to take boss during this. This is a clever move because they see where everyone is. They know the push potential. Well, they're going to go for the steal. They are. Tist is here.
Tist is here. Is he going to commit to it? No, he's going to let it go.
Just going to let it go.
Well, I mean, there's 4 of them there, and everyone's on the other side of the map, so it does make sense. But they're going to go for their own.
Yep, they're going to go for their own. And that was part of the, I think what Tist was going for was just to scare them, keep them on the defensive here as they go and take their other boss. They push the top fort down. Mid fort is very pushed as well.
Yeah, Arthur's working on that, and I mean, from here, they should be able to claim something else as well, while that boss is keeping them busy.
I think it's a smart move to go for top fort because it then makes the boss's push a lot stronger.
Yeah.
MVP is going to rotate and get the bot fort during all of this, though.
Might see another big team fight here. I was thinking about it, but it looks like they're going to pull back once again. Up an entire level, well, just about, is Snake right now.
Long just dropping that napalm to get that fort, and like you said, a whole level ahead here essentially for Snake.
Now this boss is going to be tying up a lot of MVP for at least the time being. It's going to give a lot of freedom onto the map.
Yep. Sergeant Hammer can actually push the bot fort while the rest of the members actually grab Giants. Looks like they're actually not going to get Giants. They're going for Bruisers, so they're just going to rotate down to help. You know, push that bot lane. Mong is just working on. He's actually going to get it.
Yeah, very easily as well. Down it goes, level 15. 1 level away from those level 16 talents, and another huge advantage for Snake.
Yeah, it's almost like Mong was a boss of his own, you know, down there in the bottom lane. So they had to deal with 2 super strong pushes, and they chose to deal with the boss, but it cost them a fort.
Yeah, well, I guess you just can't leave that boss alone, though, or he's going to eventually claim a keep, and that's the last thing you want at this time in the game, 10 minutes in. And they're going to start working on these towers by the looks of things.
Yeah.
I guess why not at this point? You're so far ahead. You're looking at level 16 talents.
Yeah, they've got Bruisers in the mid. Okay, there's Judgment on Sergeant Hammer. We do see the heals go down. Divine Palm perfectly timed on Mong. Oh my god.
Ravenous Spirit, though, doing a lot of work on everyone right now. So much damage going down.
Yeah.
Scar, the next target here.
Mong goes down. Sake lives with 0 health and does get healed there by Uther. So a better fight, you know, overall here for MVP.
I mean, Divine Palm did save Sergeant Hammer in a big way, but at what cost? Everyone else going down. 3 dead to 0 right now.
That Ravenous Spirit just doing so much damage.
It changes everything. It's such a game changer. It's good to see it back in action.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw the heroic earlier. I actually thought it was Gargantuan, but I was wrong. So my apologies for that earlier.
Oh, that's fine. It's kind of like an ability that got buffed once again. You know, it eventually, it originally got nerfed. Yeah, a few patches ago because everyone was just using it. No one was using Gargantuan, but they kind of reversed it. Now he's back in action, and it makes such a big difference.
It's really, really strong as long as you can get it up, you know, in the back, and no one can touch you, no one can harm you while you're channeling it. All right, they're actually going to go for the second tribute here.
Snake, they're outnumbered up here. They're going to buy time until everyone else kind of comes together.
Okay, lockdown here, taking a lot of damage. Same with Sign, but they're doing their jobs. They're zoning this out. But I think they are actually going to have to let this go.
So much poke from Snake.
Yeah.
With Napalm, with Infested Drop. There's so many things to interrupt. And they're actually going to commit to a fight here. It looks like MVP kind of caught out of position.
Yeah, a bit of a risky choice. Johanna is so low right now. And that's just going to give the tribute here. Kinu gets denied one more time, but sitting and doing so much extra damage on the side here. There's the zombie wall, and Mong is trapped here.
Warrior Man actually the first to go down here. Yeah. And Sergeant Hammer is going to be the second choice. Not going to find it though. Tyrael having to get out of there a little too deep.
Insane heals. Tist goes down though. Really good peels and good heals to save Mong, but doesn't matter if everyone else dies. You know, Arthas and Anubrak going down. They're 2 tanks, which means they're squishy. They can't stick around for the fight anymore, and they actually will, you know, after like about a 5-minute fight in exchange there, take that tribute.
Yeah, and you know, this is the scary thing. This is what I was thinking about when looking at these lineups. MVP Black going to go into the later game much more confident. I feel like Snake was really looking at a push style and hoping to get that momentum behind it before they got to this stage in the game.
Yeah. No, I totally see what you mean, and it is kind of working out that way. I mean, they did get those early forts with Sergeant Hammer pushing with the boss, but you know, as the longer the game goes, that Ravenous is just doing so much damage, and they're losing their tanks early on in these fights, which, again, the tanks are doing their job, right? They're tanking that damage. It is natural for them to lose a lot of hit points, but because the Divine Palm has to go down on Hammer, it means you can't save the tanks with it, which means the tanks go down.
Yeah, it's a hard sort of situation. The Monkey's good, but Harazim, I mean, he's still kind of getting figured out right now. We've seen some clutch plays from him so far, but the sustain is just not there compared to what we see from Uther.
Yeah. And even when we saw Snake lose that bottom fight, you know, they lost the fight, but the timing on the Divine Palm was insane. I mean, this guy's clearly been probably playing on the PTR even when we used to listen to him this
been
well.
Practicing for months on this guy.
Yeah.
And here we go. This is going to be another important one. MVP Black looking to get that curse for the first time this game.
Trying to take it away, but the shield glare does deny.
Snake, they have to deny this one, but they're going to take another team fight. Can they actually win this one? It's been a big problem so far in these last two team fights.
Anubarak is zoned out here, so he can't actually use his CC. He's dropping all of his beetles on lockdown. And, you know, Kinu would love to be near him here. Okay, Tist is going to go in. There's the heal. And they're still zoning this out so far. That's a decent maw.
Yeah, that maw is good.
Zombie Wall is zoning out Zagara, though. Sign getting very low. But again, Anubarak falls first. And that Ravenous is doing so much damage here.
He's going to be chasing away the DPS. Mong taking a lot of damage, full damage from this Ravenous Spirit.
Lockdown going down here. He's trying to actually jump. He actually got the trait to jump while he's dead. Doesn't kill Kong. And Sign very, very low. There's so much better healing, though, for Uther. More sustained healing. He can target multiple different members at a longer range. There's actually able to keep things alive here.
Yeah.
But the tribute is denied, and this is very important because if Snake has a tribute against them, a curse against them, at this stage of the game, they're down a level, they're going to lose a lot of forts.
Yeah, they're going to lose a fort or two at this rate. I mean, that top lane is getting pushed by Mercs currently. And MVP Black can let that one go. They're still up an entire level, and they're going to be looking to get those level 20 talents long before Snake does.
Yeah, that's true. So, you know, we are going to see this boss take here. This is something that, for the first time, you know, Snake is not really able to deny or pressure, which is somewhat of a problem. The boss gets taken for free, and this means that now Black can kind of attempt to deny the counter boss. And this is all going to happen while a boss is pushing. So there's a lot of potential here in this next few minutes.
Yeah, we do see very intelligent creep team is there. From Zagara, going to make sure they are aware if this boss is going to be taken. But this tribute, this is going to be the next fight here. They're going to let that boss do work on the keep. They have to deny this this curse from happening.
Oh, already a judgment here on top of Zagara. It does get Divine Palm, but it's not there long enough. And it does go down already, and Kinu falls as well. And Oreo Man trying to come from the back, but he's just too late here. And this is already a great fight for Black.
Oh, Mong D going to be the next target here, I think. They're looking for it, but everyone pulling back 3v5. There's no way they can deny this.
And the boss is still continuing to do damage. Meridace is going to take this on his own. They're going to do an offensive boss here. And then the fort at the bottom is absolutely going to fall with the curse now live. 1 minute and 5 seconds of terror, doom, and destruction.
That's right. And I mean, we're going to see level 20 in just a second as well, Wolf. So they're ahead in every single way. MVP Black have finally come online in the late game, and they're going to be looking to do some serious punishment with this curse.
Absolutely. Looks like the boss will not kill that keep, which is really important because they don't want to have, especially during the curse, those siege minions spawning. The longer you can actually keep that from happening, the better.
Here we go again. Looks like it's going to be another team fight. Looks like MVP Black are confident enough to just push another keep down. Despite the defense, we do see from Snake, I mean, Mongdi going to be able to shell from afar for quite some time, but with this boss, it's going to be another problem.
Upgraded heroics here coming in. Hardened Shield is up on Tyrael, which means he can just Judgment, and there he goes! Right on top of Mong. Oreo Man and Tist in the middle of the fight. They're doing a lot.
Oh, Sake at the back actually getting pushed back in a big way from Tist.
Yeah, Mong doing a lot of damage here in the back, but he's getting very, very low. And this boss is doing work as well. You know, all that extra CC causing a lot of problems here.
Well, down goes the keep. So despite what's ever happened so far, MVP Black going to get that keep, going to get the objective they need, and down goes Ravenous Spirit.
Yeah, Ravenous Spirit going down here.
Oh, Condemned. Keeping everyone in check.
Yeah, Tist is going to fall here. Kinu goes down, and even with Uther being out of the fight, out of the picture, he's just able to do so much healing, so much support.
Oh, once again, Kinu getting caught up here. Going to dart out. Daylight for now. And looks like they're going to start working on the core. Can they actually get the core down? That boss is so low.
The boss is so low, but I think they might actually just be able to do this. There's too long cooldown on those tanks, and they're just continuing to push it. There's too much damage.
They're going to go for it, but they're all getting so low. This could be a big mistake if they don't get the kill.
It looks like they are going to get it, though, Moonglade. And Tyrael is going to finish it off with his explosion if it doesn't happen. And that is going to be game 1 for MVP, but such a close game. Snake had that early game advantage. They did, have that pushing power at the bottom lane with, having the Monk's extra healing, having Zagara and Sergeant Hammer, but the late game was not there.
Yeah, it was a great sort of idea. I liked it a lot. And maybe a lesser team, maybe the team they played last week, they would have simply given it up. There would have been no chance. But MVP Black were very aware of what they had to do, how long they had to last. There's we have to make it to that late game, and then we're just going to shine. We're going to be able to out-sustain this team and do way more damage.
Well, I have to say, Snake looks a lot less scary when there's no Oreo Man on Leoric.
It does make a big difference, right?
Some MVP Black fans here.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of them, actually. I mean, MVP Black being the first team from Korea for Heroes to get a big win already at IEM, so big following already.
So the question is, do we see a little bit more of a standard pick composition in going into game 2 from Snake? I'd like to see them, obviously they're not going to have Leoric, probably going to get banned again, but I'd like to see them go for something that's a little bit more straightforward, a little bit more standard, and see how that goes against Black here.
I think that's the best idea. I think they're going to go, I think they took their chance with a unique sort of lineup of heroes, and now it's going to be go back to the drawing board, but maybe go back to the standard and just play a standard game from there, because they are fantastic players. They do play that standard game very well, as we saw last week.
All right, well, let's take a look at some of these fights. Look at this. Divine Palm was perfect there. And this was the first good fight that Snake took using Divine Palm. But the later the game went on, their fights had problems. We're going to see Divine Palm here again on Hmong. Look at that, perfectly timed.
Perfectly timed.
But still, a Ravenous Spirit is just uncontested. Look at the far behind. Nazebo is so far back there doing so much range damage without being contested at all, and that cost him that fight.
I love the Johanna Ravenous Spirit combination. Condemn keeping everyone together, and then Ravenous Spirit just doing so much damage.
Exactly. That's what we're going to see here again. Judgment again coming from behind. And I feel like in some of these fights, Oreo Man was just a bit out of position. He wasn't able to use his CC, which is so important.
This fight kind of ended everything. They just completely got caught out there. And from here, everything fell apart. The curse, the boss, the level 20, nightmare situation.
Yeah. Literally nothing worse could have happened to Snake at that moment. It's the worst possible time to lose a team fight. And that ended up costing them the game. As you can see, the core went down just super early there before they could even get their level 20 heroics online.
Well, you know what? Despite all that, Snake really pushed them to the limits there. They were looking fantastic. It was a very close game nonetheless.
The picks were intelligent. It looked like this composition makes sense. It wasn't like, whoa, are they trolling? What are they doing? It was really good picks. The execution was good. The Divine Palm timings on Karzim were on point, especially on Hmong. Always keeping him alive.
Perfect. Yeah, it really was perfect play. Maybe they're going to use him again. We'll have to wait and see. Yeah. Not a bad hero. I just question how good is this healing in that late game sort of situation?
Sure. How much sustain can he really bring to the table with, his heal is a small range. It's a small race. He only has one healing spell. And are you really going to be autoing and getting that much heal? Not so much in team fights. In the lane, that's another story, but I like the early game for that, but the late game gets a lot weaker. And if you can keep Nazebo with that Ravenous in the back where no one is touching him, the damage is insane. Well, all right, guys, we're going to take, it looks like a 7-minute commercial break here. We'll be right back.